Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of the Geek podcast. My name is Denise, and you can find me on Ravelry as Canarysong, and I am Kitty231 on Instagram. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I don't know if you can hear Lucy has been very chatty lately, so if you hear her, just don't mind. So I don't have any finished objects this week. I had my best friend Gina was visiting me last week from Ohio, so I was spending time with her, and I didn't really get a chance to finish anything. But I did gift the pair of mittens that I showed you guys in the last episode. They were for her daughter Aria, who's 2 years old, and I posted photos of it on Instagram, but the mittens reach up to her elbows, but that's okay. I expected them to be pretty big since the pattern said it was for a 3 to 4 year old, and she's only 2, so she's gonna have a new pair of mittens for next winter. And Gina really liked them because she said all the mittens that she sees for little kids are pretty short. Like the cuffs are pretty short, and they constantly fall off, and she has to get it back on her. So now that I had the longer cuff, she can put the mitten on her, and then put the jacket on her, and be securely on her hand. So it's a good thing. So my works in progress. I finished my first pattern of my broad ripple socks. So these are I knit these on a US size 2. The pattern called for DK yarn, but I don't have any DK yarn, so I thought I'd use Panscroy because they're thicker fingering weight, and then I just went up to US size 2, and these are knit like a 56 stitches. And actually I tried them on. These are blocked. I blocked the first one, and then I tried them on, and I had a hard time getting it on my foot. Once I got past the leg, I was able to put it on, but it's pretty snug fit, and I don't know why. I guess my gauge is off, and this is a pretty long leg for me. I usually don't knit the legs of my socks this long, so maybe that could be it. I don't know. I'm gonna knit the second one soon. And I showed you guys last time I finished my first blueberry waffle sock, but then the second one, sorry for the reaching, but the second one, I don't know, I think I made a mistake of knitting 2 different socks at the same time, because now I don't feel like knitting their pairs. So I guess I have second sock syndrome. I've never had this before. Usually when I knit the first sock, I immediately want to cast on for the second, but I haven't been in the mood to knit socks, which is a weird experience for me because the past few months, that's all I've been thinking about knitting. And yeah, so I started the cuff, and I'm on the leg part, and I just don't feel like knitting any more of this, but I have to. Yeah, if I want to, continue making socks for the box of socks cow, which I think I have three pairs right now. So I'm doing okay, I guess, but I don't want to get behind. Lucy, you're so chatty right now. So the blueberry waffle socks I'm knitting in Panscroy FX as well, and that's in the cameo colorway, and I'm knitting those on US size 1, which is my standard size for socks. And that's 64 stitches is my standard. So yeah, when I first started knitting socks, I thought I would have to cast on more because I have a large foot. I wear a size 10, but I was surprised when I I just knit the first one without doing a gauge swatch because I don't like. I try to avoid doing a gauge swatch at all times, and I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really feel like knitting a gauge swatch for socks, so. So yeah, those are all my whips, and my acquisitions is see now Lucy is being extremely annoying. So my acquisitions is I finally got my yarn for the Luca cow, the Luca shawl that we're doing. Well, we're doing a cow for March and April. So I finally picked up the yarn, and I am knitting this in Woven Fine Lace, and this is I think it's 80% baby alpaca and 20% merino wool, and it's extremely soft. And I think I'm gonna have to knit a great gauge swatch because my fear is that I'm gonna spend all this time making, you know, a pie shawl, and then the next thing you know, it's gonna be tiny. So we'll see. I need to cast on the gauge swatch soon because it's over. By the time this is uploaded, it's gonna be March already. Yeah. So in the last episode, I mentioned that I opened my Ravelry group, and we've had, you know, a few people chatting. So if you haven't checked it out, please go over and leave a comment. I started a welcome thread, and I'm gonna open up a thread for this cow soon. The prizes are to be determined at this moment. So I'm doing the cow with Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi podcast and Carly from the Made with Color Energy podcast. So check those girls out if you haven't, and go, you know, chat in their threads as well. So I mentioned last podcast that I was really gonna I bought a yarn dyeing kit, and so I got all my supplies. I ordered, you know, I did immersion dyeing, so it's when you dye in a pot. So I ordered a pot, and I got a whole bunch of supplies, and so I just had a lot of fun the last few days just dyeing up and just seeing what I come up with. I think lately I've been thinking about dyeing yarn, and I just didn't know what to do, even though I was reading this book about how to do it. I kept questioning myself, and you know, I just see other yarn dyers, and they keep talking about doing repeatable colorways and having recipes, and I didn't know, like, what does that mean? Like, how do you have a repeatable colorway? How do you write up a recipe for yarn dyeing? And I just kept thinking about it and trying to look up stuff online. And, you know, my boyfriend Ryan finally was like, just go in there and experiment, just see what you come up with. I mean, you've never done this before, so how do you expect to be at an advanced level? Just find out, you know, what it's all about, and then just go in there and just try it. So that's what I did. So this is the first skein I dyed up, and I used Knit Pig's Berry yarn. There's so yeah, they have different bases. I think this is Felici, and I got this a few months ago. So yeah, I did immersion dyeing. So I soaked the yarn, and then I added the dye to the pot, and then, you know, then I added the yarn, and so this is not exactly what I was going for, but I mean, I'm just gonna go with it. I was hoping I was gonna get a deep red color, but I figured out why now that's the reason why it didn't happen. So for next time, I'm gonna try something else, and I'm trying to keep like notes about every time I dye something, and just write a little notes what exactly I did, and what my thoughts on my outcome and what I would do next time. So I got this cute little book, and I've been just writing in there, trying to keep good notes, because I'm not a good note taker. I was never a good note taker in school, and I'm really trying to change that, especially with this, because I want to look back on the work I've done and just see, hopefully like in a year's time I can look in this book and be like, oh wow, like I did that, and then I can just look back on what I did and learn from it, and then I can actually look at this skein and remember how I did it, hopefully. So yeah, I really like the variation in the blue in this part. You see it has a lighter color here, darker color there, and this kind of purpley-ish color here. So I really like it. Something that I learned is that after dyeing is that I'm definitely gonna have to do more ties, because I only had the yarn dyed in 2 parts, and then I'll show you guys later, but I dyed multiple skeins in one pot, and it became a big tangled mess, and I still have to untangle some of my skeins, and then I spent like over an hour just untangling one the other day. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I don't know what this is gonna be. Maybe I'm gonna make some socks. I'm interested to see how this looks, and maybe I'll reskein it first so that I have some sort of idea how the colors are gonna fall. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. So the second skein I dyed was this is also Knit Picks. This is their Stroll Glimmer colorway, so it has Stellina in it. And I originally I wanted this to be a variegated purple colorway, but at the last second I decided to throw in some I tried to do some speckling, but I put way too much black. I did black powder, dye powder directly onto the skein, and it just, the next thing I know, the whole pot was black, and I was freaking out because it's definitely not what I wanted, but you'll learn. So yeah, you can still see some of the purple. I don't know if it comes up on the camera or not. It's definitely still some purple here. But Ryan really liked this skein, and he saw it and he's like, oh, this looks like, the night sky. So I was like, oh, I guess that's the colorway. So it's definitely, I think the purple is a little bit lighter in person than is coming up in the camera. And for the third thing I dyed was that I had 3 skeins of Cascade 220 Superwash that I bought these skeins years ago, and I was gonna make a baby sweater, and I never got around to it. I think I used 1 skein to make like a baby hat, and then that was it. And I really didn't like the color for myself. I'll put a photo in here, but I think even in the photo it doesn't come out true to color. It was more of like a neon green color, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna use that. So I just said I'll just throw these. I literally I just threw these in a pot, and I just threw dye in there, and I was like, let's just see what happens. So it definitely, this green is definitely more to my liking. So I have 2 other skeins, but right now they're tangled. I have to detangle them and reskein them. And I don't know if you can see here, but I put some blue speckles. I used a syringe to get some speckling, and I don't know why, but I definitely have some darker spots there, and I'm not sure how that happened. But it's cool. I like this. Maybe I'm gonna make a shawl of it. And I also, besides the book I showed you guys, I checked YouTube for any yarn tutorials, and I found a few, especially Laura from the Dyer's Notebook. She's been posting some tutorials lately. She did one of immersion dyeing a few weeks ago, and so I've been watching. I watched the tutorials like a bunch of times before I do anything. And then also Nicole from the Hugh Loco podcast, and both of their videos have been very helpful. Just to see somebody dying is one thing to read in a book, but to actually watch a video, I'm very much a visual learner, so just watching them dying, and it's really nice that we have a knitting community that's so open, and people are willing to take the time to record how they do dyeing and show us how to do it, because I had no idea. I always hear about indie dyers, and there's always a mystery to me a few years ago, just wondering how did they do that, because it's not something that's commonly known. So yeah, as soon as I finished dyeing my third skein, I ordered more yarn, so that's going to be coming. I ordered some more Knit Picks yarn, bare yarn, because that's seems to be the most affordable bare yarn to use, and they're pretty good quality. I mean, I enjoy knitting with Knit Picks, so it's gonna be fun. I think next time I'm gonna try out some new things. Just see what happens. Maybe I'll just at one point just throw some yarn in a pot and just go crazy or whatever. I don't know. It's fun. I really enjoy dyeing yarn. That's pretty much, I just want to knit. I don't want to knit now. I just want to dye yarn, but I need to also knit stuff, because I have this cowl to do, and I don't want to not knit that shawl. But it was definitely fun to try something new that I've never done before. So yeah, I hope I get good at dyeing yarn. I have some ideas in mind what I want to do next, and what color combinations I want to do next. But if it doesn't come out exactly how I want it, I'm not gonna stress out about it, because this should be fun. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. So this is gonna be a short episode. So I didn't do much knitting. So just come on over to the Ravelry group. This, the Yarn Geek Ravelry group, and just comment and just say hello. I always want to hear, from listeners. Sometimes I don't really know who's watching this, because more people watch than comment. So it's just be nice to hear your thoughts about my podcast, and what you think about what I'm up to, and even what you would want to see in an episode. So yeah, stop on by, and I hope you guys have time to do knitting and other crafty things. So talk to you guys later. Bye.